Alvarez Cristobal is a respected community leader, former senator, educator, and farmer. She's been a voice for our people and an advocate for human rights.
My father was a Marine who landed here and never left after World War II. He married my indigenous mother, C. Francisca Navarro, at the time, Taimanglo Navarro, and both my parents have since passed away. 8 siblings, and the oldest daughter. Big responsibilities.
She was also Miss Guam, representing the island abroad in the international competition. A couple years later, she would get married.
I have 5 children, and I'm still married. I've been married for over 50 years. We have moved a couple times, 3 times since we've married. So now we're here, and we've been here for a long, long time.
She continues to be active in the community, promoting a healthy and sustainable island society that lives in harmony with our environment, in what she says is her current role of farmer.
I'm trying to teach a lot of other retirees that they can use their little spaces in the backyard to, grow food, so we can improve our food security and do all the good stuff for the earth.
Cristobal has dedicated much of her life to learning and teaching. She earned a master's degree in education and a Bachelor of Arts degree with honors in secondary education, both from the University of Guam.
I used to teach at the Department of Education. I also was a school administrator.
She remained with DOE for 14 years, and she would become a professor of Guam history at UOG. She also served in the 23rd Guam legislature.
That was another big turning point in my life when we realized that we had to become partisan political about our political issues at the time. As a senator, a one-time senator, I was in office for exactly 2 years. Prior to that, as a school administrator and as a teacher, I monitored the self-determination meetings in the afternoon, because they would have them at 4 o'clock. School would be over at 3. I'd go rushing down there from Simon Sanchez to go and attend these meetings. So I basically monitored those meetings where I saw Paul Bordallo, earlier Pedro Sanchez. I saw leaders, Ricardo Bordallo, eventually Carl Gutierrez. These guys are visionaries too in their own right, and so but I watched those proceedings happen, and we carefully made sure that Articles 1 and 7 and Articles in the self-determination document that it's intact, and it's the way that we would like to see it for eventual decolonization activities that were coming. So when I became senator, we went back there and looked at that, and we asked ourselves, how can we improve this?
Some of her landmark measures include creating the rules and regs for the Chamorro Land Trust Act with Senator Angel Santos, and creating the Commission on Decolonization and the Chamorro Registry. Cristobal chaired the Legislative Committee on Federal and Foreign Affairs, and she was also the vice chair of the Committee on Education. As a senator, she participated in local and U.S. congressional meetings and hearings on Guam's political status quest. She was also actively involved in national, regional, and international forums on legislative, federal, and foreign affairs, including BRAC congressional hearings, House Resources Committee, and United Nations decolonization meetings and seminars.
Back then, I'm talking about titles, I did acquire quite a few names. I'm a communist, I'm a this and that, and of course, back then it's shocking. They even talked about our parentage and how alcoholic my parents were, and so apparently they produced this seemingly alcoholic woman who introduced these radical ideas. But remember, this was a concept that came about as a result of the organization of People for Indigenous Rights. So most all the laws that we passed, basically, I was just the instrument.
It's no surprise that Senator Cristobal was awarded Public Citizen of the Year back in 2011 for advancing human rights and social justice in Micronesia by the National Association of Social Workers. She's currently a backyard farmer and sells her produce to local stores and restaurants, and continues to represent Guam proudly in various international, national, and local forums as an advocate of human rights. So what advice would she offer young women? She directs this to young mothers.
you start your daughter very early on. As soon as they're born, you inculcate certain values that you know has held you as a Chamorro family or as a member of your unit, of your family unit. And when you start young and you hold them to certain principles, certain ideas that you value as a young mother or as a growing up child, I think that gives them good footing. I'm telling you that teaching them about, you know, your body very early on, about how to respect your body, how you respect others, inculcate those values very early on, and then they have this self-preservation mode as they grow up. They you know, they can then move on to what I think are big things in society that need to be handled. But at first, as a person, as a woman, as a young girl, you're firm, you're strong, and you're embedded in certain principles that come from our grandparents.
Now 72, she takes comfort in knowing there is a younger generation who are continuing to fight the good fight for what is right and just for Guam.
We have young ones that could be my grandchildren today. A gal named Samantha, for example, who, you know, is going to one of the best liberal arts colleges in California. We have, you know, Julie Faith. We have, you know, these are kids now that are looking at the Bevacuas, the Victoria Leon Guerreros, the Lisa Natividads. These are people that are esteemed in their own calling of all the issues and articulating the issues. So now these are the younger ones. They could all be my grandchildren, and I really feel gratified that the issue of decolonization, which I believe will be around for a very long time, and will surpass perhaps these children that are up and coming, but that it is in good hands today. I think I rest well at night knowing that the young ones are handling it very well today.